Welcome to a tier list of drinks based on how good they are for your health and natural testosterone. We're going to rank these from best to worst. S tier is going to be absolute highest of the high. L tier is obviously lowest of the low. Never consume it in your life. Before we get into this video, there's a link in the description to my community, High Tier Human, where I teach men how to optimize their health, their natural testosterone, their performance in all areas of life, and build a strong aesthetic body, okay? So if those are areas that you're interested in prioritizing in your own life, tap that link, join the community. I'll see you in there. And let's get into this video, guys. We're going to start with black coffee. Black coffee increases testosterone in a dose-dependent manner, and it does it pretty well. The thing is that when you adapt to the caffeine, testosterone generally stabilizes and goes back to baseline. Black coffee in specific does increase androgen receptor sensitivity, meaning that the testosterone inside your body can enter cells and bind and express effects more efficiently. Black coffee is a pretty androgenic drink, so if you're going with a quality black coffee that is in glass, this is an A-tier beverage. Amazing for masculine gene expression. Next, we have Gatorade. Gatorade is literally red 40 sugar water. There is next to no electrolytes in this beverage. The only thing that you're doing when you consume a product like this is increasing the chances that your children have autism. Do not consume artificial food dyes. This is an absolutely diabolical beverage. On top of the red 40 that's in it, it's loaded with high fructose corn syrup. That is not even an effective fuel source. Giving this to any athlete is going to be counterproductive. L tier, lowest of the low. Red 40 is actually estrogenic. It is a direct endocrine disruptor. Next, we have Zevia, and I chose this drink tactically because I want to demonstrate something. Zevia is sweetened with stevia, and stevia has been shown to hurt fertility markers in mice, in rats. People will use this as a scapegoat to say, oh, stevia is fine to consume. You can have as much stevia as you want. Those studies are done in rats. It doesn't act the same way in humans. Number one, we have no solid evidence showing that it doesn't act the same way in humans, okay? And if it is hurting the reproductive organs of a mouse, chances are it's going to do that in your body, at least to some extent. So we do not want to be consuming stevia on a regular basis. Zevia is going in F tier. Next, we have greens smoothies. Almost 100% of the time, if you see a green smoothie, it's going to be made with spinach. Fundamentally, what a green smoothie is a potion of oxalates that is going to give you kidney stones in the long run. Thyroid crystals. It's going to hurt your health. The micronutrition in spinach and kale in these leafy green vegetables is not bioavailable. So it's not a good source of micronutrition, and you are nuking your body with oxalates. The body can only effectively detox about 50 milligrams of oxalates a day, and that's if you're an optimal human. And so when you consume a smoothie like this, chances are it has well over a cup of spinach in there, blended up. That's more than 600 milligrams of oxalates. If you drink this on a regular basis, you are going to develop kidney stones. Absolutely horrible. This is going in F tier. Next, we have bone broth. It's loaded with collagen, loaded with glycine, niche amino acids that you really don't find in leaner cuts of meat. Beneficial peptides as well. A lot of people get it confused when they see protein on bone broth. They're like, oh, this is a protein shake. This is a high protein beverage. And it is. But the protein in bone broth is from collagenous sources, okay? It's not necessarily going to pack slabs of muscle on your body. It's amazing for connective tissue. It's amazing for skin health, hair health. If you have acne, this is an amazing thing to incorporate in your diet. And bone broth is going in S tier. Nutrient packed, peptide packed, collagen packed, phenomenal drink. Next, we have tap water. Most water treatment plants cannot effectively filter out birth control or hormone-like particles. They cannot filter out trace amounts of pharmaceuticals. Okay, most add chlorine, fluoride to the tap water, which is neurotoxic, causes neurodegeneration. Fluoride literally puts you in a more submissive state, makes you more suggestible, causes cancer. On top of that, tap water is filled with microplastics, heavy metals, estrogens like birth control, horrible compounds, okay? The only kind of water that you should be consuming is reverse osmosis filtered water, and you should remineralize it with a quality sea salt, an electrolyte powder, or a trace mineral supplement. Never, ever, ever consume tap water. It is hurting every area of your health. It is hurting your testosterone levels. It is hurting your cognitive function, your long-term health. Disgusting. L tier, lowest of the low. Next, we have raw egg. Nutrient powerhouse. Packed with bioavailable cholesterol cholesterol, packed with protein. The benefit that we get from drinking the raw eggs is the micronutrition and the bioavailable cholesterol in the yolk that is non-oxidized by heat. When you throw a conventional egg on a pan and you cook it until that egg yolk turns hard, you are oxidizing a high portion of the fatty acids in that egg yolk. You are rendering them unusable by the body. Am I saying never eat cooked eggs? That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that raw egg yolks in specific provide your body with more bioavailable cholesterol and micronutrients to create testosterone. They are one of the most anabolic foods on the planet. So these are going in absolutely S tier. If you can, you want to do your best to source corn and soy free eggs. Why? Because they have a far better fatty acid profile. They are more nutrient dense. They're packed with more micronutrition than the average egg. Okay, but I always say if you can't get your hands on pasture-raised corn and soy free eggs, regular eggs are still going to provide you a ton of benefit. Eating eggs is always going to be better than not eating eggs. Next up, we have Premier Protein. Looks like we got water, milk, protein concentrate, calcium caseinate. Anytime you see casein in a protein powder, it is hyper-concentrated A1 beta casein. That is highly inflammatory to your gut. It causes systemic inflammation. It causes leaky gut, meaning that the junctions between your gut cells become bigger and they allow toxins and other things to pass through the gut without being assimilated and dealt with by the body. We got whey protein concentrate, high oleic sunflower oil. Look at how high up on the ingredient list this sunflower oil is. This is a hyper concentrated seed oil and it's making up a large portion of this shake. The higher up on an ingredient label a ingredient is, the more of that ingredient is in the actual product. Natural and artificial flavors, which could be hiding literally any compound behind that term. Sodium hexametaphosphate, DATEM. This is a disgusting carcinogenic compound preservative. Carrageenan directly lowers gut membrane integrity. Okay, it directly causes leaky gut. Sucralose, horrible for the microbiome. Guys, this is absolutely disgusting. And I've seen other Premier Protein Shake ingredient labels that literally have soybean oil listed on the ingredient label. Absolutely horrendous for your health. I hope you can see where I'm coming from when I say that no human should ever consume this diabolical beverage. L tier, lowest of the low. All right, next up is Capri Sun. This is an absolute joke. This is probably the most processed fruit juice that you can buy on this planet. The ingredient label in a Capri Sun is not that bad. The only problematic ingredient on there is going to be natural and artificial flavors. So it's in a microplastic pouch, literally consuming microplastic juice. All right, we're going with F tier for this beverage right here. Absolutely disgusting. Next, we have green tea. This is going to be a little more niche, okay? Green tea actually has negative effects on DHT, 5-alpha reductase. And if you've been watching my content for some time, you know that DHT is a very, very important masculine hormone. It's responsible for drive, motivation. It has a large part to do with sex drive, masculine gene expression, androgen receptor sensitivity. Everything that makes you a man comes from DHT, not necessarily testosterone. Now, this is a topic that we could go deep on, but green tea directly lowers DHT. So it's not a beverage that I recommend people consume on a regular basis. Now, is 1 cup of green tea here and there going to crush your androgens? No, but it's still a net negative for masculine gene expression, drive, motivation, vitality, things like that. Okay, so it's going in D tier. Next, we have conventional fruit juices. Most of the time, when you have Ocean Spray, Tropicana, these kinds of juices, this juice sits in vats for very long periods of time. And what these companies will actually do is they will take flavor packets, which have horrible ingredients, preservatives, weird things in them, and they will add these back to the juice because the juice actually loses its flavor because it sits for so long. And they don't have to list this on ingredient labels. So this is absolutely diabolical. On top of that, I guarantee you that they make these juices out of bad fruits that have weird stuff growing on it. They just throw all the fruits that aren't presentable into a vat. They crush it up. They make this juice. So it's probably heavily contaminated with mycotoxins. And most people don't realize that the products that they buy from the store, like these juices, grains, other things like that, they sit for such long periods of time, guys. What do you think? These companies are just churning out fresh apple juice? No, this stuff has been sitting for extremely long periods in plastic, garnering microplastic into it. Going in F tier, you should not consume these on a regular basis. Next, we have something like fresh squeezed orange juice. Fresh squeezed orange juice is amazing. It's extremely high in vitamin C, very close to rocket fuel. Performance enhancing beverage right here. Amazing for the metabolism. This is a phenomenal energy source and it's going in B tier. Only putting it in B tier because it doesn't directly help out with testosterone levels. Next is going to be Kool-Aid. I'm going to ask you a question real quick. Do you want your children to have birth defects? Do you want your son or daughter to have autism? If not, do not consume Kool-Aid. This is absolutely diabolical. Why would you dump a packet of sugar and red dye into your water? You're literally supplementing endocrine disruptors. L tier, lowest of the low. Absolutely horrible compound. This is not even a drink, guys. This is literally a supplement that will lower your testosterone, lead to infertility, and give your children birth defects, okay? Like, get this stuff out of your life. Hopefully, if you're watching this channel, you know that and you would never consume this. Okay, next we have A2 grass-fed yogurt, cream top yogurt, maximal saturated fat, maximal testosterone synthesis. Now, some of you may be like, well, this isn't actually a drink. And that's because you're not on the anabolic wave. You can drink yogurt, guys. It's just a thicker protein shake. This is packed with peptides, saturated fats, and it's A2, so it's not going to lead to gut inflammation like conventional A1 dairy will. It's not going to have the same estrogenic load that conventional A1 dairy has. A2 grass-fed yogurt is going in S tier. If you add a little bit of honey to this and you just sip on that, it's literally a protein shake. And it's a protein shake that comes in combination with saturated fatty acids that will help you synthesize more testosterone. Next, we have coconut water. Absolutely phenomenal source of potassium, phenomenal source of electrolytes. This is going in B tier, and I'm only not putting it higher because certain individuals should probably lay off coconut water if you live in a northern climate, because coconut water is high in deuterium. And in order to effectively deal with the deuterium in coconut water, you need a lot of sunlight. So people that live close to the equator, I'm in Florida, I have the luxury of being able to consume as much tropical fruit and coconut water as I want because I get a lot of sunlight on a regular basis to deal with that deuterium. But if you don't, you should probably avoid high amounts of coconut water. Am I saying never consume it? No, but you should not be consuming a coconut water every day, okay? Because the deuterium in this will stack up over time. All right, next we have almond milk. Almonds are high in oxalates, okay? This is literally an oxalate potion, similar to greens drinks, not as high in oxalates. You have to realize the business model that these companies are running. They want to maximize their profit. And in order to do that, when they're processing almonds to bag up and sell to people as snacks, they have a bunch of almonds that don't make the cut, right? That either have like little black mold on them or they just look weird, they were misformed. And what they do is they take all of these almonds that have mold growing on them and they put them in a vat. They put water into that vat and then they soak these almonds in the water. The amount of mycotoxins, aka mold toxins in this is crazy. And half the time they add seed oils to this. So you're ingesting omega-6 linoleic acid that's going to contribute to a more estrogenic environment in your body, lower your testosterone, increase inflammation, increase oxidative stress in your cell membranes, on top of the high oxalates. Okay, this is literally an anti-health potion, and it's going in F tier. Absolutely diabolical, guys. Next, we have A2 raw milk. You guys know where this is going. S tier, packed with enzymes, packed with good bacteria, packed with peptides that increase growth. Milk is meant to put weight onto a baby cow, and it's going to do the same in your body. Now, what we want to do is avoid conventional A1 milk. Conventional A1 milk is estrogenic. The A1 proteins convert to BCM7, aka beta-casomorphine 7, in your gut and bind to opioid receptors around your body. They slow down your digestion. They contribute to gut inflammation. A1 dairy is absolutely diabolical. You should not consume it. Now, some people handle it better than others, and if you're one of those people, cool, okay? You might not get as much digestive distress as someone that has a serious intolerance to the A1 protein, but the A1 protein in conventional dairy is not something that we developed as a human species to deal with. And so even if you handle it kind of well, you don't get a ton of digestive discomfort, it is still negatively affecting your digestive system and your body in some way. So best case is always going with A2 dairy products or any milk that comes from an animal that is not a cow. Goat milk, sheep's milk, buffalo milk, that's all going to be A2. A2 proteins are what animals have created since the dawn of time. And it's not until recent years with these modern breeding practices about 10,000 years ago that people found out that they could breed cattle to produce more milk. And through this breeding process, they created the abomination of the A1 protein. It's absolutely horrible for your health. If you're drinking milk from cows fed a diet of corn and soy drenched in estrogenic pesticides, that is going to transfer into the milk that they produce. So we do not want to be consuming conventional dairy. A2 dairy only. And people will ask, well, is pasteurized A2 dairy okay? Is raw A2 A2 dairy okay. They're both fine. Pasteurized A2 dairy is good. Raw A2 dairy is the best of the best, obviously. They're both nutrient dense. Raw milk is obviously going to have more enzymes, more beneficial bacteria in it that hasn't been denatured by the heat pasteurization, but both are going to be solid options. A2 is what matters. If it's A1 raw milk, it's still going to be problematic in your body. It's still going to cause digestive inflammation, whether it's raw or pasteurized. Get the A1 protein, the conventional dairy proteins out of your life. And speaking of A1 dairy proteins, we have Fairlife milk here. And I believe this is the filtered protein milk version. Okay, so not only is it hyper filtered so that it only contains whey and A1 casein proteins, but they add carrageenan into this milk. What is carrageenan? Carrageenan is an emulsifier that is horrible for your digestive tract. It creates a leaky gut. It creates digestive inflammation. It puts your digestive system in a state of distress. They literally use carrageenan and polysorbate, which I've seen both of these on a Fairlife ingredient label, to induce inflammation in mice. When they're doing mice studies and they need mice to have inflammation for the specific study that they're doing, they will literally use these compounds to induce the inflammation in these mice. It is absolutely diabolical to put this in any kind of beverage, all right? So Fairlife is going in L tier, lowest of the low. Highly inflammatory, disrupts the gut barrier, contributing to leaky gut and systemic inflammation. Next, we have Lipton tea. Now, these are tea bags. Tea bags are literally hyper-concentrated microplastic packets. Every time you put a tea bag into a hot beverage, you are saturating that beverage with tiny microplastic particles, endocrine-disrupting particles that are going to disrupt your testosterone production, disrupt your own testosterone from binding and working in cells. Going in L tier, lowest of the low. Next, we have alcohol. There is zero acceptable amount of alcohol to drink. Any amount of alcohol is poison to your body. It's going to negatively affect your testosterone, your recovery, your sex drive, your androgen system. Every health system in your body is negatively affected by alcohol. Increases inflammation, hurts detox pathways, okay? Going in L tier, lowest of the low. Never consume a drink. Not one, not two, not a sip. Next, we have diet sodas. Now, people probably think I'm going to harp on aspartame. And aspartame is problematic. It's a literal neurotoxin that causes neurodegeneration, Alzheimer's later in life. What's more problematic, I believe, in the case of diet sodas, is the fact that it comes in a can lined with BPA. So you're getting a BPA endocrine disruptor saturated beverage, and these companies are not using reverse osmosis filtered water to make these sodas, okay? They're using tap water. They're using the cheapest water that they can get their hands on. So not only do you have a BPA saturated solution, you also have birth control, heavy metals, microplastics, trace amounts of pharmaceuticals in these beverages. It's not just the aspartame. This is absolutely horrible. You should never consume this. L tier, lowest of the low. Next, we have regular soda. Same exact story as diet soda. It's just got high fructose corn syrup instead of the aspartame. They put caramel color in this. Caramel color is a synthetic artificial dye. Horrible for your health. So it's going in F tier. Never consume this. Next, we have peppermint tea. Peppermint tea directly lowers testosterone, and it goes farther than just tea. Altoids, anything with hyper-concentrated peppermint oil is going to be bad for your testosterone. Now, it's not a huge effect. It's nothing on the same level as something like Red 40 or soy oil or something like that, but it is an endocrine disruptor, okay? So peppermint tea is going in F tier. Next, we have kefir. Now, this is phenomenal for the gut. The thing is, this is A1 conventional dairy kefir, so it's not going to be optimal. If it was A2 kefir, I would put it in S tier, but it's not. You're still getting a small amount of exposure to the A1 beta-casomorphine protein in this beverage. So we're going with D tier. With the fermentation process of kefir, it does get rid of quite a bit of the A1 beta-casomorphine protein, but you're still getting a good amount in conventional kefir. Next, we have apple cider vinegar. This is an amazing beverage for a cut. 1 tablespoon in the morning, 1 tablespoon at night if you're trying to lose body fat. It's amazing for insulin sensitivity, controlling your blood sugar. It's also amazing for taking right before a high protein meal. It boosts stomach acidity slightly. It's not a crazy effect, but it helps with the digestion of protein. One thing you want to watch out for with apple cider vinegar consumption, and it's a mistake that I've made in the past, is consuming high amounts of this over a long period of time. If you were to consume high amounts of apple cider vinegar over a long period of time, you're going to deplete your potassium. You also have to watch your teeth enamel when you take this stuff, okay? So it's best to dilute it in some water. Personally, I just take a shot, but people that are super concerned about their teeth enamel, you might want to dilute it in water so that it's not as harsh on the teeth. It is a very acidic beverage. This is going in A tier because of its benefits on insulin sensitivity, blood sugar control, and its gut health benefits. Next, we have gas station slushies. You are Red 40 and Blue 1 maxing. There is literally no excuse to consume something like this. It's going to lead to birth defects in your children, autism, horrible effects in your body. It's a direct endocrine disruptor. It causes hyperactivity disorder in kids. If you give your children a gas station slushie, that is literally child abuse. You are actively poisoning your kid. God forbid you consume one, you're actively poisoning yourself, destroying the body that you were put on this planet with. L to your lowest of the low. Next, we have yerba mate. This is a solid caffeine source. The only gripe that I have with yerba mate is that it comes in a can lined with BPA. Because it comes in that BPA lined can, I have to put it in F tier. If you can get yerba mate without it being in a can lined with microplastics and BPA that are going to destroy your testosterone levels, that's going to be optimal. And I would probably put it in B tier. Next, we have pomegranate juice. This is one of the only fruit juices that has been shown to directly increase testosterone levels, okay, and salivary testosterone levels. So it's going in S tier. Best case scenario is making your own fresh squeezed pomegranate juice, but this is amazing for your testosterone levels, amazing for arterial health. Packed with antioxidants and polyphenols. Some people's digestive system can't handle the high polyphenol content of pomegranate juice. So, start with small amounts, increase your dose over time, and just see how you feel running it. But it is amazing for your hormones. Next, we have beet juice. Now, this is pretty high in oxalates, but it does have a benefit. So I always go back to the concept of ROI, or return on investment, for what we're putting in our body. Beet juice is insane for increasing blood flow, increasing nitric oxide. If you run this pre-workout, you're going to get insane pumps. Now, due to the high oxalate content, I'm going to put it in B tier, okay? But it is a high ROI beverage. It's not as high in oxalates as something like a greens juice. So this beverage does have merit. It's not something that I would consume every single day or on a super regular basis, but here and there, it has a good use case. Next, we have soy milk. What are we doing, guys? This is a fast track to gynecomastia, aka man titty. This is a fast track to creating a more estrogenic environment in your body. Now, some people will say, oh, but there's no good research that soy lowers testosterone. Soy kills androgen receptor sensitivity. It kills testosterone's ability to actually work and bind in cells. Even if you're a woman, soy contributes to more breast cancer development. It does not only bind to estrogen receptors in the body, it binds to androgen receptors as well, okay? And anytime you have an exogenous compound occupying an androgen receptor, you are inhibiting your own hormones from occupying that androgen receptor and expressing hormone effects. L tier, lowest of the low. Next, we have the blood of ruminant animals. This is probably one of the most micronutrient dense drinks that you could consume on this planet. If you have access to fresh ruminant animal blood, treat it like a supplement. This is something that I would consume on a very regular basis. This is going in S tier. Next, we have White Monster. White Monster is housed in a can that is lined with BPA, lined with endocrine disrupting chemicals. So unfortunately, White Monster is going in L tier, lowest of the low. And then lastly, we have the anabolic trio. And this is an absolute cheat code for those of you that are on a bulk. This is A2 dairy, egg yolks, and raw honey. When you mix these three compounds into one drink, it creates an anabolic potion, a potion that is going to pack slabs of muscle on your body and increase your testosterone through the roof. We have raw egg yolks for the micronutrients and the bioavailable cholesterol. We have raw honey to increase our luteinizing hormone, to send more of a signal to produce testosterone. And then we have A2 dairy for maximal protein, maximal anabolic peptides, maximal IGF-1 and growth factors, okay? This is an absolute super potion. It's going in S tier, highest of the high. That's the tier list. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And like I said in the beginning of the video, there's a link in the description to my community, High Tier Human, where I teach men how to optimize their health, natural testosterone, performance in all areas of life, the resources, the guidance, the protocols, and the support to get you to where you want to be when it comes to your goals in those areas. So if those are areas that you are interested in prioritizing in your own life, tap that link, join the community. I'll see you in there. And as always, guys, stay optimal.